Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm here today to bring you a Dewey's Readathon vlog. I do these every year. I've always participated in Dewey's in some way, and this is the April-spring version. I will admit that things are converging today to create a day that would make me think that I can't read very much, but I'm gonna give it a huge go. And I usually try to do about not quite a 48-hour readathon, but I do extend the 24 hours just because I'm on the West Coast, so everyone starts, on these various times, and we're the last time zone. And so I'm always feeling kind of behind everyone else. And so I kind of just read for an extended period of time and call it Dewey's. So you're gonna get to come along with me. So what is happening today, along with reading, is that it's the first nice sunny day that we've had on a weekend since pretty much this spring. So I do really want to set my deck up so that I can read out there on my deck today before it rains again tomorrow. That's one thing. The other thing is I'm currently preparing for an online exhibit with another artist in the States, and she is building the website, and I have some things that I need to get to her so that she can continue building the website. So I have to do at least an hour of that work. So I am going to be taking breaks from reading, but I am going to try to finish three books today that I've been working on for the last one for the last week, which is The Stone Virgins by Yvonne Vera. This is a novel set in Zimbabwe, and it was a read-along put on by Bernie Lombardi, I think is his name, on Instagram. I will link his channel down below. It's been really enjoyable to read the chat messages on Instagram about this book, and I want to finish it up today. I'm pretty close to the end. I've also been reading Pistachios in My Pocket by Sareh Farmand. This is a poetry collection. Sareh Farmand immigrated to Canada from Iran when she was a child, fleeing the fundamentalist takeover, and these poems are connected to that theme, and they're amazing so far. And the other book I'd like to try to finish this weekend is Paradise Falls by Keith O'Brien, the true story of an environmental disaster. I'm reading this for the BookTube Prize, so I won't be able to share my thoughts on this book in this vlog, so you'll see me reading it, but you won't see me talking about it. If you're interested to hear about this book, you just need to look for my BookTube Prize vlogs, which will be released at the end of May once the results of round 2 have been released. And I'll also put all the details to the channel for BookTube Prize down in the description box if you've never heard of it before and you're interested in learning about what the BookTube Prize is all about. And then last night I did just start reading An Immense World by Yong, and this is also for the BookTube Prize. I'm not sure how much of this I'll read today, but it is going to be seen in my reading. So those are the 4 books that you're going to be seeing me read today, and I'm just going to take you along with my day and show you what's happening and what I'm doing in typical vlog style. So welcome to my day. everyone. So I'm about 2.5 hours into my reading for today. I finished the introduction to An Immense World. I've read 2 more chapters of Paradise Falls, and I think that means I have 18 chapters left of this one. And I have 3 chapters left of the Stone Virgins. And how many pages left do I have of the poetry collection? 113 to 122. So I'm really close on the poetry collection as well. 9 pages left. So that is my update for right now. I did kind of do some of the other tasks I was mentioning earlier. Not going to set up the deck today because when we came down to it and realized that tomorrow would be raining, we wouldn't be able to be out there, and it's actually preferable to get the keep the furniture under a cover for a bit longer while it's rainy. But I am going to go out there and do some sweeping and kind of clean the deck a bit so that when the rain comes it can kind of wash the deck off a bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of trimming of some plants in the garden because I've been craving it. It happens to me every spring. It's a very spring feeling for me to go out and work in the garden. It very much wanes by the end of the summer and I start to get tired of it. But at this time of year when I have the urge to go out and work for a bit, then I tend to do that. So I'm going to do that, a little break, and then head back to my reading. But I'm still on track today to be able to finish these 3. So I just have to, I will get stuck back into more reading after I have a little movement break as well. I find I'm not listening to an audiobook right now, so I don't have an audiobook to kind of listen to while I'm doing these tasks. And I tend to like to have that, but I just haven't settled on an audiobook yet. I thought I had picked one, but now I'm thinking it's not the one that I want to read. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board on that. And I think it will be fiction because of all of the nonfiction reading I'm doing for the Book 2 prize. I'm not reading a lot of fiction right now, so I'd like to read a little bit more of that. Anyway, that is my update for now, and I will check in again in a couple more hours. Hey everyone, I just wanted to check in. It's the end of Saturday and I finished Pistachios in My Pocket by Sareh Farmand, which is really, really amazing. And then I'm about to finish the Stone Virgins. I just have chapter 17 left. And and then hopefully I'll be able to read one more chapter of Paradise Falls before I go to sleep. So I'm hoping to finish up Paradise Falls tomorrow, and I'll give you a little recap of the Stone Virgins tomorrow. And I also got to a bookstore today for Independent Bookstore Day, so I will share a little book haul with you in the morning as well. All right, good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Hey everyone, so a little update. 12:30 on Sunday, and I am, I was gonna update you on the other, I'll do this first. I'm on chapter 41 of this book, so I have 11 chapters left, so I'm just gonna keep reading this today. I thought right now I would check in with my book haul from Independent Bookstore Day, which was yesterday, April 29th in Canada. I ended up going to a secondhand bookstore that I've been to just a couple other times in my city, and it's actually going out of business. This is its last weekend in business, and so they were, the books were reduced considerably. It was like basically fill a bag for $10. And so I didn't really have time to fill a bag because I had my husband and my kids waiting in the car outside. And it was also pretty full in there. I didn't take any video because it was very chaotic. There were lots of people. A lot of the books had like fallen and were like shoved in boxes, and shelves were toppled. And so I just didn't think it's not one of those calm, lovely bookstore moments that you want to put in a vlog. So I thought I would just do a little haul with you now to tell you what I ended up getting for $10. So I got a copy of Emily of New Moon by Ellen Montgomery. This I've read all three of these. I read them on e-copies from the library, or I may have just downloaded free e-copies from somewhere. But I wanted to get this because I could see giving it away in future. I don't know if I would ever reread these. I do really like them. I think it was a great series. Equally, if not better than Anne of Green Gables, which I know is a controversial thing to say. But I might be giving this away to one of my nieces when they get a bit older. So I thought it was a nice copy in really good condition. So I picked this one up. Next, I will talk about the two novels that I found. So this one is called I'll Be Right There by Kyung-Sook Shin, and it is translated from the Korean by Sora Kim Russell. This one was published when? I don't even know. Let's look. It was published in 2010. And this one is set in 1980s South Korea amid the tremors of political revolution. I'll Be Right There follows Jung Yoon, a highly literate 20-something woman, as she recounts her tragic personal history as well as those of her three intimate college friends. When after 8 years of separation, Yoon receives a distressing phone call from her ex-boyfriend, memories of a tumultuous youth begin to resurface, forcing her to relive the most intense period of her life. With profound intellectual and emotional insight, she revisits the death of her beloved mother, the strong bond with her now dying former college professor, the excitement of her first love, and the friendships forged out of a shared sense of isolation and grief. So I just thought that sounded really interesting. And I'm also always kind of wanting to push myself to read more works in translation. And I don't believe I've read anything set in Korea. I haven't read Pachinko, for example, which is the big, one, which I do plan to read eventually. So I just thought this sounded really interesting. The other novel I picked up was called The Museum of Forgotten Memories by Anstey Harris. And this one is 4 years after her husband Richard's death. Kate Morris is let go from her teaching job and unable to pay rent on a London flat she shares with her son Leo. With nowhere else to turn, they pack up and venture to Richard's ancestral Victorian museum in the small town of Crouch-on-Sea.
Despite growing pains and a grouchy caretaker, Kate begins to fall in love with the quirky taxidermy exhibits and sprawling grounds as she makes it her mission to revive them. But threats from both inside and outside the museum derail her plans and send her spiraling into self-doubt. So I thought because it was set in a museum, it'd be fun to read as I work in a museum. Not one with a lot of taxidermy, but, you know, I just thought it sounded like a fun, like an interesting setting for a story about, you know, getting over something. So that was that one. And then I got a book of short stories by Alice Munro, The Love of a Good Woman. This is a hardcover copy. And when was this published? I've read one, 1998. So I've read one Alice Munro, two Alice Munro compilations. And I do enjoy her short stories. I would say, you know, she writes short stories that I find, you know, absorbing. And so I thought this was a really nice edition of this book, and I picked that one up. And then the last three books are art and coffee table books. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I have been reading a lot about and making artwork about the rivers, not the English rivers, rivers. And so I saw this book, this coffee table book, The English River by Alan Titchmarsh, with photographs by Michael J. Steed. And I think the basics of this is that this is a celebration of the main rivers of England, their flora and fauna, and the people who live by them. So I thought this would be cool just to look through and kind of get some inspiration from, learn a bit more about some of the rivers in England. And, you know, just have as a reference material as well if I wanted to do some drawings, or if I wanted to, yeah, just learn more about rivers in England. So I decided to pick that one up. And the other two are basically art show catalogs. And they're very old. This one is the Gallery of Canadian Art to Tom Thomson. So Tom Thomson is probably one of the most famous Canadian landscape painters. He died rather mysteriously and tragically by drowning from a canoe. And so I thought this would be just a nice little book to keep as a reference. Like, a lot of the plates are not in color, but his work is really quite incredible, and I just thought this would be a nice little thing to have on hand for reference. That's him there back in the day. And then the other one I found is Jack Shadbolt, Act of Art. And this Jack Shadbolt, whom we can see here, was a Burnaby artist. BC artist. He has the Shadbolt Center, which is a place that I've shown many times in my vlogs. It's an art center with some gallery space and theater and you know, arts classes for kids. That is named after him. And so this is a catalog from, oh my gosh, this book was $100. Wow, that's how rare it is. It's actually signed by Jack Shadbolt, and I got it very cheap. So this is from 1981, and I'm just trying to think and figure out where if these were shown somewhere or. So Shadbolt did a lot of work with butterflies. That was one of the things that he depicted a lot in his abstract paintings. But this, I believe, these works in here are photographs, like altered photographs with paint. And they really appealed to me. They just have this gestural aspect to them, and this color and pattern movement that I thought was really interesting. So I wanted to just get this and look at it, and obviously I got it as a steal. So that is my little mini book haul for Independent Bookstore Day. I'm going to keep reading, and I'm also, I think at the end of this vlog, I'll update you for the 2 books that I'm allowed to talk about, and because I finished them yesterday. All right, talk to you later.
Hey everyone. So I'm going to wrap up the vlog here. This was a lovely, lovely poetry collection. I would highly recommend it. It is a local press here in British Columbia, but I hope that any of you who are interested in poetry that covers issues of home, belonging, displacement would check this out, because it's just beautifully written, and it's actually, I would kind of call it a memoir poetry collection. I'm still kind of figuring out the true definition of that, but I'll probably talk about it a bit more in my my monthly wrap-up. And then The Stone Virgins by Yvonne Vera, I finished that as well. And this is also a kind of hybrid novella, like a story that's very poetically written, very lyrical in its descriptions, but not character-based at all, and not really plot-based. It's more of a study of a country undergoing upheaval and war, with a lot of violence described, but in its very poetic and kind of removed way, and also this kind of internalized psychological way. So it's quite a book. It has quite a way of looking at the world, and I'm really glad I read it. I don't think this writing style is one that I would go back to, because it's a little bit too disassociated for me, but I'm really glad that I read this finally, after owning it for a few years. And yeah, I think that Yvonne Vera is obviously a very talented writer, and so definitely check out her work if you haven't before, and see if it's your cup of tea. So in the end, I finished the 2 books that I was hoping for, and I am just about to finish up Paradise Falls, but I cannot share the wrap-up of that with you anyway, so just know that I am going to finish it tonight on the last day of April. And that is my Deweys for the spring of 2023. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another video.